Paul Mercieca. Paul's a close friend of mine, and at the moment he's the National Inventory and Controller at Kellogg's. However, in my office, I think he just accepted a job somewhere else. So for another 4 weeks, he'll be at Kellogg's, but he'll be moving on. Similar role. Yeah, similar role. Inventory, but he's certainly been involved in supply chain management, inventory control, quality control. He'll talk a lot about that today. All right. So, guys, welcome, Paul. Okay. All right. So, Paul will run through some of his experience. We'll speak to you about some of the topics that I've briefed him on, and I'll interject just to guide him a little bit because he's not aware of our syllabus. And certainly, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. If there's something you can answer then, otherwise you put it on the board. All right? Cool. Google Doc on. Okay. One of you guys go, and just you can write notes as we go. All right, guys. Have some paper or laptop out with you. Paul, over to you.
Alright, thanks for having me, everyone. As Dorian just touched on, I've been at Kellogg's for about 8 years now. In various roles, I've held an inventory controller role for a long period of time, and I've fallen into other areas like contract operations management, and also in the planning area, so scheduling and movement of stock to our various warehouses across Australia and New Zealand. In terms of Kellogg's as a whole, we produce cereals, but we also produce snacks. We've just recently brought out Pringles, so Kellogg's own Pringles now. In Latin America and North America, we own a company called Kashi, which produces biscuits and cans of sausages and things like that. And the main area that we're looking to obviously grow is the import area. So the import of not only raw foods but finished foods in terms of different kinds of snacks and promotional cereals as well. So I don't know whether you've seen in the stores of late, you'll see various products with Spider-Man over them and Star Wars and Frozen and things like that. So there's a lot of movement in terms of what we're bringing in from external suppliers, and then obviously what we manufacture on site here in Australia. And we've pushed all our snacks products that we manufacture into Asia and particularly Thailand and Peru. So Dorian wanted me to touch base in certain areas, so the operational piece, the inventory management piece, and then I'll touch on a bit of quality management and what we do in terms of ensuring that our food is at an adequate state to be able to sell onto obviously the consumers. So we're not getting consumer complaints from you people that have LCMs and things like that. Okay. So, George, do you want to get started with inventory management?
Yeah, I think do a bit of inventory management.
Alright, so inventory management is my core responsibility at Kellogg's. We basically manufacture our food, which is distributed across to a third-party logistics provider called Linfox. So I don't know whether you've seen a lot of those big Linfox trucks that go around. They're packed with our food. Now,
I think I said to the boys today that at Kellogg's, you guys have the big chute that goes right next door to Linfox.
So I'll touch on that. So our manufacturing facility is directly connected with our third-party logistics provider, and it's connected through an air bridge. So our food is manufactured, it goes on a conveyor, and then it will travel through an air bridge and go directly into an automated racking system that is like a crane, picks up the stock and puts it away. So really there's no manual handling of the product until we move the stock to customers.
So think about what would have happened previously, people moving pallets, now it's all automated. capital labour substitution. Automate the process, technology's taken over, taking away the human element, and said no one touches the product. Not because they're going to get dirty, because it means there's time and money associated with that, okay?
Correct. So, Brian just talked about money and handling of it. So, there are extreme cost savings in reducing the amount of touches a product has. So, imagine a piece of paper, right, as a cereal box. Every time someone touches that cereal box, it's costing the company money because we have to pay for that person to do the job. Okay, so reducing those touches in terms of automated systems is the way that every manufacturing company is moving forward, especially in our times now where we can do so much automation with technology and things like that. Inventory management. Good inventory management is just ensuring a few various things. So having a good reconciliation process, being able to manage your stock in a way that you know what you have on your books, dollars versus cases against pallets, all those kind of things.
So can you explain, Paul, when you say reconciliation? And Paul, I've told you before, I went to Kellogg for a couple of months. Paul organised a job for me, and there used to be a conference called in the morning, 8:30 every morning, and Paul would be on that, and I was on that with various other people. And Paul would report a number every day, and that number would be the discrepancy between the stock that was on the system, which against what was in Linfox's warehouse. Is that correct? Yeah. And there'd always be a number out, like you'd say 20. 15, 9, 30, and that would be the amount of pallets that have gone missing or been destroyed because of the way they were handled or something like that, correct?
Yeah, so
that's reconciliation?
Yeah, that's reconciliation, exactly right. So basically you have your two systems, they're integrated, they talk to each other, so whatever your third party is doing flows through into our system, which is the financial system, and they're supposed to mirror each other all the time throughout the day. And that's all in and around making sure that you're able to service your customers. So if your systems are out of sync and you don't have stock in your system to be able to sell it, but Linfox is saying they do have the stock, then your service level obviously takes hit. Okay? I've got here in inventory management. For me particularly, the most important thing is having the right key performance indicators in place. Okay, we have areas that we need to track on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and then on a monthly basis. And how each of those areas are performing is exactly how good your integrity of your inventory is. So in various areas, so in particular key performance indicators, the most important ones in inventory management, cycle counting, you've got inventory accuracy, which is basically your location variances versus your total locations. Okay, so there's some measurements.
What does that mean, Paul?
So in a warehouse facility, for instance, our Linfox facility is about 42,000 square metres. You always go off square metres in a warehouse. But in terms of location, so each pallet location is one area. If any of those areas are in variance, then you measure that variance against your total inventory locations in your warehouse.
Again, that would probably be variance if stock's missing or it's
correct. So
destroyed or
sometimes, for instance, Linfox will put a pallet on a truck that shouldn't be, so you're missing that pallet. They don't ship it off the system. Sometimes forklift drivers do what they're supposed to do or not supposed to do. They just pick up stock and move it, but they haven't
checked it off
or transactioned it in the system.
There's variances, guys. Like, again, you're going to say, well, how do 30 pallets go missing overnight? can't be people eating cereal. And as Paul was saying, because where they try and automate everything, there are elements of human effort involved. So a forklift driver picks up too many pallets or delivers it on the wrong truck. It should be in this truck rather than that truck over there. And that creates a variance, which means pausing it or whoever's going to look and find out where the hell it is and get it. Because if they don't, guess who misses out? The customer, which means their customer, they can't put on the shelf, so their customers can buy, their consumer. Okay?
Inventory standard of accuracy is 99.95% of your inventory. So you only have 0.05% variance as an acceptable rate of variance.
What happens if you're below 4?
If you're below, most practices would bill the third party for the difference of the value of the stock.
So you guys, Kellogg, would charge Linfox whatever the value of the stock was if there are multiple variances in the number of pallets that should have been there in their stock. If it's below 99.95%, they go, Linfox will charge you. That's the service level they've agreed on. So I bet you what would have happened was that when it came time for Kellogg's to negotiate with the various third-party logistics companies, they would have said to them, okay, come to tender or submit your best offer. And Linfox, DHL, whoever else are involved would have said, oh, we can do 99, we can do 95, and they would have said we can do 99.95, and that's why they wanted the business. They would have rationalised all the suppliers and said, in our agreement, if you do not meet 99.95%, we're going to charge you for the stock that you have sent missing. Okay? So an element of supply rationalisation before, eliminate all the other transport logistics suppliers, and they would have made an agreement. Kellogg would have said, we'll give you all our business, you will have full control of all the pallets, but we want this service level agreement, 99.95%, and these costs. Okay? And if you don't do that, this is the penalty. That's how business works, guys.
We also, a really important part of inventory management is managing your damages throughout your warehouse. So being on top of warehouse damages, distribution damages, import damage, how you manage that stock as it's coming into the warehouse and ensuring that that stock isn't distributed to a customer. So as a consumer, you don't want to pick up a box and you open it and all your cereal's crushed and little bits and pieces down the bottom, right? So there's an element of ensuring that those damages are managed in the correct way. So you have, in your warehouse system, you would have good locations where your stock is deemed good for sale, and then you would have hold locations which hold all your stock to ensure that it doesn't go out to the customer.
So how do you monitor whether something is good for sale or on hold? Is there any technology or a name of technology you can give us that you guys use? Or
it's not so much a technology thing. It's the way we manage it is as you find warehouse damage as you're going to pick. So if I send Dorian to a location, I tell him to go pick a pallet of special case cereal. He goes and finds that pallet is crushed. Obviously, he would move that pallet directly into the damaged location, and then he'll come back and say, sorry, Paul, we can't pick that pallet because it is damaged. So he will go on to the next. So, and that's where we're going to move on to next in terms of FIFO. So I wouldn't tell Dorian where to go and pick the location. The system will automatically generate a location to go pick based on the rule of FIFO. So Dorian's mentioned that he's spoken to you guys about LIFO and FIFO.
We will, guys. Don't be alarmed. Yeah, no, we're going to come. What's the system called? What's the name of the system? Is there a name for it?
SAP.
Oh, SAP. Your system, SAP system, guys.
Or you can call it the WMS, the warehouse management.
Warehouse management system. Kellogg's, let's call it that. Kellogg's Warehouse Management System. KWMS, right? Kellogg's Warehouse Management System.
Now FIFO, just in terms of what they mean, first in, first out. And that's how Kellogg's run. Some companies run on last in, first out. Just based on the fact that they have a different scope of product, potentially without life on it. Sometimes, so for instance, sometimes cheeses, you buy cheese, it gets better with life, or wine, it gets better with life. So they would work under this scheme.
Sammy?
Yeah?
What about with like meats? Would that be the same?
No, with meats it would go with FIFO. So first in, first out. So you want to rotate your stock in terms. So meat has an expiry date,
Yeah.
right? So it could be 2 weeks. Let's just say it's 2 weeks. You want to rotate that stock that has 2 weeks life on it first, because you don't want the 3 weeks life to go out before that 2 weeks goes out. Correct?
So what they do, they use the warehouse system to tell them which pallets they should be picking, because they're going to go out of date there earlier than the one that come into it. They tell them, this is the one you want to get now, get it out on the shelves as quick as you can.
Kellogg cereal normally has about 365 days